Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Lisa, and in this video we're going to talk through how I've completed this Bowtruckle from the Fantastic Beasts. If you're into the Fantastic Beasts, check out some of my previous videos. I've completed the Zuwu, the Niffler, the Phoenix, the Diricore, and this is all using Faber Castell watercolour pencils. In the description below I'll put a list of the colours that I've used, and I'm also using my Nerdforge sketchbook. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's get started. So the base layers that I used was the Warm Grey 2, Earth Green Yellowish, Light Green, and the Chromium Green Opaque where it sort of gets darker. And I also put in some of the light Cadmium Yellow and the dark Naples Yellow in some of the yellower areas. So the way I work is sort of in sections, and I sort of do bits at a time and then come back to other sections. So I started by putting in the base and then the mid and a little bit of the dark tones, and then blending with the water with the brush, and then go on to the next leaf and do the same thing, and then go back to the first leaf and complete the rest of it once it's all dried. Remember, with watercolour pencils, if you do work on one section that's connected to another section and they're not dry, they will bleed into each other. So you want to make sure that they dry fully before you sort of go back over and work on certain sections. So once you've got the base layers down, I started to go in with the darker greens, browns and purples to darken up some of the leaves. Then in the lighter sections, I went over with the white watercolour pencil, and you can also just fill your brush up with water, rub it on the end of the white pencil, and then put it down with the brush so it gets really bright and white over the green sections. Moving on to the body, I just sort of worked on parts at a time, so I thought that I would do what most watercolour people do and go put a base over everything and then come back and start to add in the darker sections, because it was really hard to evaluate the values in the leaves at the top because I didn't really know how dark or light I should leave certain sections. So once you get it all in there, then you can sort of see where it needs to be darker and what needs to be lighter, and then add in the darker tones such as the mauve, purple violet. I used some of the cobalt green in some of the bluey green sections on the body as well, and then in the darker sections at the roots at the bottom I used some of the raw umber, burnt ochre, walnut brown, along with all of the green colours and the warm grey too. So when using watercolour, it can be frustrating once you're putting your sort of tones down. You put in like the lighter and darker areas, and then once you blend it with the water, it all just looks the same sort of colour. So you do need to go over and do at least 2 or 3 layers, blend with the water, and then go back over again. And because this guy is so sort of skinny, it was hard to sort of see where the lighter and darker sections were meant to be, but I did spend a lot of time going over each of these sections, darkening them up, doing lots of layers, and really building the tones up in the end. So when I was ready to start doing the background, which probably in hindsight is the wrong way to do it, you're probably meant to do the background first and then add in the foreground, but not the way that I work. So what I did was get some tracing paper, put it on the Bowtruckle, outline around it, and then cut it out, which was very tedious. And then you can start to put in the background, blend with the water, and then do that a couple of times. I put some tape around the edge to ensure that there's sort of like a border around the piece as well. And then when I'm ready to splatter the paint on the page, I just put the cutout piece of tracing paper back over the Bowtruckle and then started to flick it on there. So you wanted to have some sections that didn't have any of the splatters on it, so that the main focus of the Bowtruckle is the actual Bowtruckle. But yeah, I feel like the background I could have gone a lot darker, but I didn't want it to be, you know, that he was sort of in a grim or dark sort of place, so I just left it quite light and put in a lot of the darker tones. So I went through with all of the same colours that I've used before to splatter them on. So the way to do that was just to fill your brush with a whole heap of water, rub it on the end of your pencil, and then flick it onto the page, making sure to cover anything that you don't want to be splattered on. So that's why I put the tracing paper over the Bowtruckle to hopefully make him stand out. So this is the final result. I really hope that you like this video. Remember to like and subscribe. Check out some of my other Fantastic Beasts, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys, keep drawing, bye.